Okay, so again, I said the definition of celebrity has changed completely. No longer are we talking about people that are in the movies, on TV. We are talking about people that might be living on our street. Not on my street, but on a street somewhere. Maybe more obtainable is the word I should use. But in case I wasn't clear, I'm going to venture into the side effect of DIY bloggers. Now, this kind of has a root. Well, almost all influence has a root in another realm, which I am so excited to talk about. And I'll be honest, I have been oddly amused and entertained by this group of people for such a long time. It's a slight obsession, and I totally get that. And if you're slightly obsessed, you'll love this. But you already know, probably without me saying. But today, we're going to focus on a deep dive of DIY bloggers. Now, one of the reasons I love a deep dive isn't necessarily because I think I'm this captivating journalist or I'm some expert. Far from the truth. I just have so many questions as a consumer of this content, and it's fun to kind of talk and muse about its origin, however that does end up. So I try to approach this area, this influence, from the approach of curiosity and not judgment. I might come off as snarky, that's just my nature, but it's hard not to notice. So let me just kind of give you a little background of where I came into this DIY sect, this DIY corner, this DIY influence. In 2004, I was engaged. Oh my gosh, 2004, that's almost 20 years ago. Let's just pause for a moment and let me sip my Diet Coke on that thought. But in 2004, I was planning my wedding. And at the time, there was this website, and it was actually a chat room board. Does anyone even remember chat room boards anymore? But this was called The Knot. There was basically two different groups. There's the weddingchannel.com, and then there was the knot.com. And the Wedding Channel had its own board, and the Knot had its own board. And believe it or not, I had profiles on both of those areas. And the Knot allowed you to open up a profile as a separate page, so you could click on someone as a hyperlink, and it would open your profile, and you could showcase the theme, the colors, the invitations, the flowers, the dresses, the shoes, the jewelry, everything of your proposed plan for your wedding. Once you were married, the next big thing was to showcase those pictures. So these boards were all about like DIY florals, or who you used for your florist, what pictures do you want. There was a board for it. If it was based on your wedding, there was a board for it. And everyone kind of gravitated towards certain boards. The interesting thing is I gravitated toward the home decor. So that was basically in a different section. That was in newlyweds. And this was all about, how am I going to decorate my home? Because I loved the opportunity to kind of showcase my ideas for my wedding. But I have been invested in home decor since the JCPenney catalog was a thing. And I'm not even joking. I would go through the JCPenney catalog and create a whole home, from asking someone like my babysitter, what colors do you want in your bedroom? And then I would pick out everything from lamps to duvets to curtains, side tables, all based on that. And I would write it out meticulously on those yellow notepad papers. Yep, that's what I did. So I've always loved home decor. I would decorate my room. I really hyper-focused on that. The only reason I didn't go into decorating in college is, one, I kind of thought it as superficial. And two, I couldn't draw. Now, those things are now obsolete, but I thought my job would be better to serve people in education or healthcare. So that's kind of why I've been invested in home decor since I was little. And then, of course, I went through the whole phase of watching anything and everything on HGTV. I mean, hello, Paige from Trading Spaces. Vern was my favorite, side note. But that just took the game to another level. So you could see the evolution going from a catalog or a magazine to TV, and then we hit the computers. Going back, I was on the Knot. I went to this section called Your Home Decor. Actually, it was Your New Home. YNH. And we would just post pictures, and we became a huge community. I actually am still friends with several of those girls because after the wave of home boards came the wave of blogging. So blogging was huge. And it really just started from websites. So you'd have this website, and at the time you would go to blogspot.com so that you could have a free one. Very few people had their own URL. And ladies and gentlemen, you actually had to know code. You had to know HTML code at the time. You actually had to upload pictures from your DSL camera that you went hunting for at a good deal. And you would start posting on your blog. I have done this since the 2000s, early 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s. So I'm talking even when I was in college. So again, I would follow these people. And then when I got married and planned that, it was like, oh, this whole new landscape of I get to decorate my own entire home. And kids, I was in it to win it. So my first two big influencers of home decor and DIY was the Lettered Cottage, and that is Layla Palmer. You can find her on Instagram, and she still has her website, as well as the Nester, or Michaelyn Smith. She only, I think within the last 10 years, talked about what her real name was. She always went by the Nester. And side note, I have been told that we look alike, but that's a whole nother segment. And these women basically showcased how they took their home from what it was to what it is now. So they had that idea of, oh, we are going to show you how to do this. And kids, I was in it. I loved it. I don't even know where to begin in telling you how much I adored these blogs. I would go there and I would just eat up the content that they gave. Absolutely. Because for me, it gave me hope that I could take my home and do it. And I even had my own blog at a time, because that is what you did. That is how you maintained kind of your, I don't know, your root, your power in that position. And it was all about having that community. And I loved everything about it. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of background of where I'm at. Because, you know, when I first got my home after I was married, I loved it. I was all about like jumping in and changing my oak cabinets, changing my floors. And what's crazy is if I look at where I started, I'd probably be a lot further if I would have continued that. But such is the season of life, and you have kids and you have other responsibilities. It was just not really something I could do. That first summer, because I was a teacher, because of the Lettered Cottage and the Nester, I felt I could paint my cabinets and change the hardware and change the countertops. And I did rip up the carpet. I did not lay the wood laminate. I paid someone else to do that, but I did everything up to that. So I thought I was cool. I was influenced up to a point. But now it's on a whole new level. It's like the exponential curve has gone from the DIY, which was, hey, let's go to the Dollar Tree and figure out how to make Pottery Barn knockoffs for nothing, to now, hey, let's redo our stairs. Let's reposition our stairs. And it's this whole kind of contract girl boss thing that is new level.